All right, guys. This is V-Man from No Budget Productions. Welcome to my Star Trek Picard Season 2 thoughts. So I, I'm as many of you guys know, I was not the hugest fan of Star Trek Picard Season 1. It was one of those shows that was kind of hit or miss for me. There were certain ideas that I liked, certain that I didn't. I don't feel as if we got to know the crew enough. I didn't get a sense of who they all were. Um, hey, how we doing, Zam? Welcome back. Long time no talk, man. um, so for me personally, um, I think it had a lot of good ideas. I liked the fact that we moved past, the Star Trek Nemesis time, Romulus, being destroyed, actually dealing with ramifications of what fucking happened with that whole thing. Because for so long we were dealing with, what happened, with or not Nemesis, from Star Trek, and Romulus blowing up, and finding out what happened with Spock leaving and everything. So. Oh, right on, man. Well, I'll be done way before then. I only expect this to be like maybe a 20-minute video, so I'll cut it relatively short for you, man. Excuse me, man. I'm a little phlegmy this morning. I don't mean to be. So if I cough for you guys, forgive me. I apologize. I like the fact that we moved, in a post Nemesis world, with Picard, we moved past Star Trek Beyond and Romulus blowing up. um, I enjoyed the fact that we were moving forward. That being said, I feel like this was a little bit dark. Um, uh, Hold on just one second, guys. Thank you very much, my friend. Um, you too, man. So that being said, I feel like this was a perfect representation of a Star Trek world mirroring us, which has always been what Star Trek is kind of about. You go back to the 60s, Kirk Spock, that mirrored the 60s. You go back to the 80s, that really, and Next Generation, that really mirrored them at the time. um, Especially DS9 and a lot of the things that they were going through, is very representative of the time that they were in. Star Trek Picard, no different. Hey, what's up, Ian? How are we doing, brother? Welcome. Glad you're here, man. So Star Trek Picard, for all the people that said they absolutely hated it, they couldn't stand it, it was horseshit. I'd have to say that it's probably because you hate the world that you live in. Because as I look outside my window, it's kind of the same shit that's going on. Reflective of the hatred that goes on today. There's not a lot of hope today as what we like in our Star Trek. Um, yeah, no, and you're not wrong for that opinion. A lot of people have that same opinion. I can't speak to that and say you're wrong. Um, I think Picard and Discovery, both are examples of, as we were talking on an earlier show, of the taste issue. Some people say this is, you know, definitively bad. I can't necessarily say that. I think it is really a taste issue. Some people look at that and say this is perfectly good. I don't agree with that. There were some things I liked with Picard, some things I didn't. Um, I think just like as Zam and I were talking about yesterday on Critical Not Cynical, I think like with Discovery season 1, I think they took two different elements, and smashed it into one. I think they should have left the Romulan arc and made that its own thing, and then the Borg arc and made that its own thing. I think they had, they could have stretched that out and gave us two separate things. I don't think they meshed well together, and I don't think they should have tried. I think they were kind of throwing the shit on the wall and seeing what stuck and trying to get everybody to jump on board. And to me, that's kind of the sign of you don't have enough faith in your product to kind of stick it out, especially for a 10 episode series. Let it go. Remember, whale lady from Star Trek 4 bringing her into the future had an effect on society, which is why everyone swears now. No, and that's that's double dumbass. No, you're absolutely right. It kind of does. And for some of those people that say, we're living in an alternate timeline, because of Discovery and all that. We've done so much time traveling on Star Trek. To say this is Prime, this is not. Discovery is not my universe. It's you kind of have to fuck off with that mentality. It's like there is no Prime universe. We've been time traveling since TOS. You basically just have to say, I like this Star Trek. I don't like this Star Trek. Like for me, I know Zam said earlier on last night's show that he hates Enterprise. I don't find Enterprise that bad from season 3 on. Season 3, season 4 I like. Season 1, season 2 I hate. I don't like it. To me, I find that some of the worst Trek out there. Now, Star Trek Voyager, I don't really care for it. It's to me, I hate a show that hits the reset button every single time, especially considering I feel like that show should have been a serialized show, especially considering you are lost in space, and every time you get hit with the photon torpedo, you should see the scorch marks of the torpedo or the damage inside your hull. Like you should have been the Year of Hell story arc stretched out through the entire series. That should have benefited from the serialized story arc. So to me, I feel like that show was a missed opportunity. So every time I watch the show, I have to turn my brain off, and it annoys me because my brain just doesn't function like that, and it makes my teeth itch. My wife, on the other hand, she watches Voyager and she's like, "Ha ha! Janeway's looking for coffee and a nebula." So for me, it boggles my mind. So I digress. But when I watched Picard, there were things that I did enjoy about it. I liked the idea that they are discussing the bigotry of the sense. How you can be mistrusting of a certain group of people callously, and how do you deal with that going forward? I do. For those of you, forgive the shameless plug, but tomorrow night's feature of Rain Cross, which will be at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, I do kind of delve into that a little bit. So I hope you guys stick around. For those that are watching the Star Trek Picard era films that I'm putting out, tomorrow's film will deal with that, which is one of the reasons why I felt the need to do a couple of Star Trek Picard era films, because I feel like they didn't delve enough into what they needed to, and I felt like they kind of glossed over some of these real world issues. Yes, shameless plug. But I felt like they glossed over a lot of things where I don't feel like they took enough time. And then you had episodes where they got Picard playing dress up with the eye patch and the long brimmed hat, and just shit where it's like, come on, man, fuck off with this. Like, give me some depth. Some episodes that got some, that I can sink my teeth into, because there are some real good issues that you're bringing up, and then we stop in the middle of a series and have kind of filler episodes. And for a 10 series arc, that bothers me. So here we are at season 2. We've got 2 trailers that have dropped, and they haven't given us much to go on. Part of it's intentional because we're so far out. They were supposed to film last year, but because of COVID, they couldn't. So they started filming. Finally sounding French. Exactly. But they started filming this year, and they're supposed to be releasing it early next year. Which, if you know the turnover rates for any of these shows, they pimp them out pretty quickly as soon as they're done wrapping up. It doesn't take them long to edit these and get them out. So that's one of the good things about these shows, is their turnover rates for getting them out is pretty quick. Ian, you never have to worry about that, my friend. You never have to worry about that. One of the one thing that we do have Whoopi Goldberg coming back for the return of Guinan. A lot of people think it's going to have something to do with a conflict with Q, but even that we don't have anything to go on except for people's assumptions. you know, we don't know. Um, it's a good guess, but it's a guess nonetheless. Um, we just don't know in that regard. We do see Seven of Nine without her implants. We do know there's some time travel involved. We've seen the Picard in a completely different uniform than we've seen him in before. We haven't seen uh, any of the androids. At least I don't believe we have. We saw the uh, vineyard with, it looks pretty scrapped up. um, we've seen some weird comm badges. Everything just screams like something's wrong. We've seen kind of a red comm badge type thing on the ship, their main ship, and that's also another thing about the series that bothers me is I don't. Not only do I not feel like I know the crew enough, I don't know their names. Um, I know Rafi. I know her name. Um, of course, I know Seven and Nine. I know Picard, but I don't know any of the other people's names. Um, the only reason I know Rafi is because I enjoyed her character a lot. But like that blonde doctor who I don't know how the fuck she didn't get arrested. Um, I don't know her name. I don't know the guy who has a million holograms of himself. I don't know his name. Like characters that I liked, I don't know their names just because I I didn't spend enough time with the characters, you know. So I hope they slow down everything and don't quite pander to, hey, we got Whoopi Goldberg, let's spend 15 episodes with her like they did with Hugh. Um, you know, uh, I named them after Star Wars characters. Well, the thing about that is they felt a lot like Star Wars characters. They didn't quite feel like Star Trek characters. Uh, They might be. That's the thing. Like, it feels a lot like yesterday's Enterprise, because you have uh, you have okay, Rios, Captain Rios. Okay, that that's right, Captain Rios. Okay, um, we were talking the other day about how I really liked the idea of Tarantino's yesterday's Enterprise idea for a movie, and I wouldn't like. I think that's a great idea for a movie, especially if you're trying to get back, the Kelvin universe and everything, and just see that big budgeted idea. Not to mention a rated R version of yesterday's Enterprise would be really kick ass, especially from someone like Tarantino. I think that's a really interesting idea. Um, especially this war torn Star Trek universe. That we really delve into with us just getting our asses handed to us by the Klingons. From someone like that, like that's very different. Especially since they kind of glossed over it in Discovery, like we never saw that. So give me that. I think that would be great. But I really don't know what to make outside of everybody looking confused, and looking at weird things. Like, I just don't know what to make of the trailer. And there was just not enough there to get me excited, outside of seeing an old Q. You know, and I've seen John Delancey in person. Like, I've seen this, so it's nothing new. So I'm waiting to get excited. And seeing, Jerry Ryan without her implants, we've all seen that. If you've seen Boston Legal, again, it's nothing new. And the one thing that has me concerned, they're filming season 2 and season 3 at the same time. Patrick Stewart he looks in bad shape. I hope his health is good, because I'm really concerned about that. Ian says 10 episodes was not really enough to get acquainted with the characters we've not seen before. No, and the thing about it is, like, they didn't take the time with the characters they had, because again, you had two different storylines going on. You had a filler episode in there. It's you need to get to know these characters. Take one or two characters, stick with it, and have everyone else be backbone. That's one of the reasons why DS9 worked, is because you got to know the characters. And like O'Brien, when O'Brien came over, you didn't have to get to know him. You already knew him. So by the time you actually had an O'Brien episode, it was like maybe halfway through the season, you already knew him. And that's what these people need to realize is You don't have to get to know everybody a little bit. Get to know one or two characters, and everybody else is just there, you know. But they spent piss poor time with the characters they had, and none of us really got to know everybody. That was a problem with Discovery season 1 and 2. By the time we got to season 3, they actually took the time to get to know the characters, and we gave a shit. I still didn't even know half their fucking names. Shazam says, I think the makers realize that they need some familiar faces, hence bringing back so many characters. No, I agree. I think it's kind of a fear play. They realized Star Trek Picard season 1 didn't really do all that good, and they got some negative criticisms. I think that's what they're doing here. I could be wrong. I know there's some people who say Star Trek Picard season 1 was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I don't agree with that. To me, I think it had some real issues with it. I see the good and the bad, but I agree with you there. Tarantino would make a bottle episode great, and he could focus on the different factions like the Romulans. No, and that's exactly it. Like, what the fuck happened to the Remans? Like, you had, he could. You're absolutely right. He can take a small idea and make it great. The problem is it's like they threw all this shit into the pot, and they just didn't take any of those ideas and make them great. They had 15 ideas and they tried to make everything, race to the finish line, and nobody made it, and we still don't know what the hell we watched. At least I don't. And the idea of making Picard a synth, except, but you're aging like you would have normally, and everything's like that whole idea was just, fuck no, that was stupid. I didn't care for it. The Klingons will always hand the Federations their asses. Well, Krorath, I'm glad you think so. You and I will agree to disagree, and I have a strip of quadlithium that says differently. So as long as we're in this timeline and not the nausea timeline, we can agree to disagree. So, them are fighting words, Ian says. Exactly. No, and you're absolutely right, Zam. He's as good as a man can be in his 80s. No, you're right. Certainly, I think he's going to outlive me. But I am concerned. I just, when I look at a picture of him, I don't think he looks healthy. And this comes from a guy who, when I look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, oh, I don't look healthy. I stand up and I'm like, oh, I'm out of breath. But I do. I am just concerned because he's getting old. So I wonder if it's like, look, you guys are going back to this well one too many times, man. You kind of need to ease off him. I do agree they missed the trick to recast him when he was changed bodies. I agree. I 100% agree. I think Tom Hardy would have done it. Because he loves either him or James McAvoy, one of those two. I know James McAvoy said he wanted to do it. Especially considering him and Patrick have a great relationship anyway. I think it's a missed opportunity. Steve says the folks in New Trek should watch more old Trek. Uploading Picard into mainframe reminds me of TNG episode of Solar and Old Man. Yeah. Would not be the same if they recast him. You're right. But flip side of the coin, I would hate if they were in the middle of filming and then all of a sudden he passed away. Lord forbid that ever happens. But Steve Atwell says Shatner's in his 90s, much better shape than Stewart, much better shape than me too. To us both, Krorath. And that's the thing. It's like these guys are icons. I mean, they were. I felt Stewart looked old when I was 8. And here I am 40. 41. And I see age creeping up on him, and that's all it is. I'm just concerned, just like I would be for my grandma. I just would hate for something to happen to him because he's trying to do too much, Trek. So I'm concerned. Don't get me wrong. I'm hoping that Picard season 2 is good. But I don't. For me personally, I'm not excited for season two because there's not enough there. The alternate timeline has kind of been done to death. Um, the It's not a bad idea. It's just how it's executed, and they with season one, it was not executed well enough for me to get excited about season two. Of course, I'll watch because it's what we do. We either sit and watch because we hate it, or we sit and watch because we love it. And we talk about it either way. But it's not enough to get me excited. When I was a kid, I would run on Saturday nights. I would be very cutthroat about Star Trek. I wouldn't miss it for the world. And sadly, with Discovery, if it was a couple of days before I got to watching it, I'll watch it eventually. Yeah, and that's the way I feel like Star Trek Picard got to be with me. And that's the way with season two. I'm not excited because season one didn't get me anything to be excited about. And sadly, the trailers haven't given me anything to be excited about. And seeing Q show up, that didn't do anything for me. John Delancey, of course, is always great. Always funny. I'm curious about the test of humanity he's going to put us through. But sadly, it's just if you couldn't get me excited about the Borg in season one, I can't get too excited about Q in season two. If you can't get me excited about the Romulans in season one and how we deal with that, I can't get excited about an alternate timeline in season two. Like I mean, it's just, to me, I felt like you might be throwing more again, and not doing it very well. So I hope they slow down. I hope they learn the lessons from season one. Because for me, they didn't lose me. I don't think they'll ever really lose me. But for me, I'm excited about Orville, and I haven't seen anything about Orville. I know friends that know stuff from behind the scenes, and they're excited. So I get excited off their enthusiasm. But I mean, it's pretty sad that I don't get excited off of seeing a trailer. But yet Orville, I haven't seen anything, and I'm fucking pumped. But I mean, I can tell you, I'm excited about Strange New Worlds, and I haven't seen anything about that except for all of my uniforms of those Discovery Pike era uniforms that I have. Just looking at those, I'm like, man, I can't wait for Discovery, or for Strange New Worlds to come out. Just because of Anson Mount, Ethan Peck, Rebecca Romaine. Just knowing them and their short treks that they did, like, those are fucking great. So I'm excited for that and haven't seen anything. So get back to what Star Trek's about. I don't mind seeing real world stuff done in Star Trek. I think it should be, but they need to slow down instead of throwing 15 million fucking things. Because it's kind of like when, if any of you guys remember Star Wars Episode 3, how that movie opens up, and they're in the space battle, and they have like a million fucking ships just flying all over, and it's just overstimulating on the brain, and you don't know what you're looking at, and it's so overwhelming, and you're just at a certain point you turn your brain off because it's just oversaturation of CGI. And that's the way I feel with the way they're throwing all these story elements at me. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know who I'm supposed to care about. I don't fucking know. And I wish they'd just slow it down and let me spend some time with some characters that I want to care about. Because at the end of the day, if I don't care about your character, like, why am I here? I don't care about CGI. That doesn't bother me. So I'm waiting to care about characters. I don't want to watch this for nostalgia's sake. I want to invest in, what do you have now? So I'm waiting. I'm hoping. I'm giving them the chance to fail yet again. So we'll see. But I will let you guys go because I know Zam has to get to work here soon. I know you guys have things to do. And, that being said, let me know if you guys agree. Let me know if you disagree. Yeah. So that being said, you guys have a great weekend. Now on Monday, just to let you guys know, I am kind of backing off of social media stuff. Um, I kind of need a break. I've been doing a ton of filming for my films, for other people's films. Um, you know, I've been doing a lot of stuff, so I'm backing off. I've canceled a lot of my Pizza Roll Diaries because I was scheduled 3 months out. I've canceled all of them, but when I do return, I'll be doing Pizza Roll Diaries with. If you guys know Egotastic Fun Time, I'll be doing one with him. I'll be doing one with. If you guys have seen the movie Clerks, I'm friends with one of the actors in there, so I'll be doing one with him. If you guys have seen Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso on YouTube, I'll be doing one with him because we're real good friends. We've done a movie together. You know, so these are three individuals that I really wanted to get through the Pizza Roll Diaries and interview those guys and chat with them. But honestly, I'm burnt out and I'm tired. And I don't want to give you guys less than you guys deserve. I don't want to give them less than they deserve with my attention. So I've canceled my Pizza Roll Diaries with them, and I'm gonna take a break. So when I come back, I'm refreshed. I'm ready for them. I'm ready for you guys. But Monday morning, I'm gonna do one last Pizza Roll Diaries, kind of interviewing myself and just talking about what doing the Pizza Roll Diaries has meant to me over the past couple months, and what doing the channel, our growth, has meant to me, and what you guys mean to me as fans, and not just fans, but friends. You know, because you guys make this channel grow, and I adore you all for that. You know, you guys make this worthwhile. So join me Monday morning at 9 a.m. Central. You know, for one last Pizza Roll Diaries for a while. So don't consider it a season ender or series ender. Just it's a season finale, I guess. You know, just for a while, so I can kind of recharge the batteries a little bit. Steve Atwell says maybe one with me. Absolutely, Korath. You know, there's always room for you at the table, brother. You know, you are my Klingon half. And there's always room for you, my friend. But as for right now, I will stay on Friday nights doing the Critical Not Cynicals, because I do find those fun with Frank. You know, and that doesn't drain my battery so much, you know. But as for myself, just taking a little bit of a break. But yeah. Don't say goodbye, say good journey. No, and that's exactly, that's kind of funny. The saying good journey, that's the quote that I say in one of my films. That's a good journey is what Menard says to Holt Allen. That's their quote they say to each other. Good journey. They say that to each other all the time. So that's a little bit of irony there, man. So, but no, you guys join me because it's gonna be a fun time. Like I said, I want to kind of just go through a little bit of memory lane before I take a little bit of a break. And I'll still post on my Facebook. I'll still post pictures of me and Royce, but I won't be on as much because, like I said, I just need a detox. But that being said, all of you guys, especially with the 4th coming up and fireworks going off and everything, be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on, guys.